Should I proceed further now? Okay, now I should play another role, that's the role of moderator. Wherever we go, we find a monastery within a walking distance in the Kathmandu Valley. Have we ever thought how they were established and with what motive and philosophy and plan they have been planned, they have been made? So this is the question. And we should know about this question. We get to know through this seminar, through this symposium. So for that, we have several um, speakers today, distinguished scholars. From them, we will hear and we will delve into insights of this Bihar construction for which help our mankind. What is the perception, general perception of perception about the monastery? The simply people take it as abode, the place of where monk and nuns reside, and maybe the activities of monk activities, the monastery activities takes place, but it is beyond that that we got to know today in this symposium. So for that, we have a group of scholars, and this session will be divided into two parts. In the first session, we have three paper presentation, and first one is mine that's already completed, and the second will be I think Gyanendra Sake. He will give a presentation, and then the successive one will be from Sudan Sake. So for that, now I will invite Gyanendra Sake to proceed with his presentation. And the floor is yours now.
Thank you, moderator Surendra sir, and respected all the participants. So I'm presenting this outcome, the research outcome of Kriyāsaṃgraha research group, representing our 5 people group, from Professor Tanemura, Professor Kyuma, Dr. Lata, myself, and architect Manindra Shrestha. So background about research group already been presented by Lata, so I won't go towards that. And in our paper, the outline is like that. I'm not going to go through each and every point, but just like to highlight something, like the background about text. Professor Tanemura have already explained that, so I don't need to go in detail. So I will just go the overview of the this is the outline where we focused, because the Kriyāsaṃgraha it's a lengthy, long text with it includes so many things, specifically a rituals part and architecture and symbolism part. So our focus was towards building construction, Bihar construction, and symbolism of those Bihar those elements. So we identified which are the sections. It was distributed in basically two chapters. in which Bihar construction is related, and in the 8th chapter, it is all about Chaitya construction. It is also related to architecture, but we are not dealing right now. Um, so, so I'm starting from this slide. This is the same thing the Tanemura, Professor Tanemura, what he have shared about inscription. This is the place. It is called Bahāḥ, that lies in Wotu Toll of Kathmandu. And this is the inscription. Just like to show the real how it looks like. I'm not going to read this inscription because Professor Tanemura have already presented that. So we're talking about the inscription that Professor Tanemura read through and explained. And these are some works on Kriyāsaṃgraha which have been already done. As one is from Skorsky, and Professor Tanemura did some sections of the Kriyāsaṃgraha with critical edition. But he have done a great job that this research have made easy. He have transliterate all the manuscripts so that we don't have to engage in transliterating. That's a really big part, really big challenging part, which Professor Tanemura have already done before, around before 2000. So and we are building on our work just on the top of that. So I really thank Professor Tanemura. Without his contribution, it would not have been possible. So now I'm just entering to the content. Like the first part of the Kriyāsaṃgraha, which deals with architecture or building construction or Bihar construction, is about land. Acquiring the land and selecting the land. It has given several criteria. What is the suitable land? So it gives some analogies like land in the shape of tortoise, land in the shape of triangle, land in the shape of rope. It means it is implying land not regular. So this kind of land should be rejected for Bihar construction. And in next verse it says, if the site is already occupied by some monastery or archaeological site or chaitya or cremation site or yajna site or school, it says like Gurukul, school or swampy land. So it shows and also habitat for snakes and other. So it shows some ecological concern, displacing the inhabitants. So it shows concern about that. And also, if it is occupied already with these things, it should be rejected. And this is the one which is suitable. It could be square, it could be rectangular, it could be circle, but with expansive space. So that can be the suitable land. And it suggests how to decide the land is stable. And this is the very conventional way we do. We just dig a hole and fill it back. And if the soil is overfilled, then that is the good one. If that is the same level, that is madhyama. And if it is in depression, that means the soil compaction is not good. It's very loose. So that should be rejected, adama. So this kind of recommendation, and this is not only in the Kriyāsaṃgraha, even in Brihat Samhita, this kind of instruction for checking land is mentioned. And then another part, this is the 81 square mandala. trying to accommodate Vajra Dhatu Mandala in this square form. Actually, Vajra Dhatu Mandala is in different form. I will show that. And then it assign every square with a Buddha and Bodhisattvas. Actually, this manuscript is not the Kriyāsaṃgraha. Actually, it is a handbook, the local handbook. Local people have prepared it for their use, based on Kriyāsaṃgraha. So it made us very easy when we are reading just text, just words. It was not so much. We couldn't relate that. But when we got this manuscript, when we compare these two, we can now relate the writings of the Kriyāsaṃgraha. So it assigns these deities, and this figure does not only have 81 square. The outer square is not actually the part of 81 square mandala. These are actually names for the nadis. Kriyāsaṃgraha says these lines are nadis, and nadis in two ways. If it goes from east to west, it is one nadi, and if it goes from west to east, so it is different nadi. So altogether there is 40 nadis, and it gives names of 40 nadis, and every set of 10 deities. The first one is 10 bodhisattva bhumis, 10 paramita, and then this is Vasita, 10 Vasita, and then Dharini Devi. So in this way, these nadis were assigned, and then now from this verse, this is the Vajra Dhatu Mandala. Mahavairojan is at the center, and all the deities around Vairocana, those are the families of Panchabuddha and other bodhisattvas. So let me show you, and these are the family in every square, every circle. I have given the detail of the thing in my paper, so I'm not going to read all the thing. Just like to show, this is the Vajra Dhatu Mandala. Actually, this mandala is transformed to that square mandala, and how it was done skillfully is interesting one. Actually, schematically, this is the Vajra Dhatu Mandala. These circles, these 5 circles are headed by Panchabuddha and surrounded by bodhisattvas. So this was transformed this way. So this white part, it is the Mahavairochana Mandala, and then this green part, so these 4 deities were laid in this linear format, and the central Buddha is hidden here. So you will not find the Buddha in the this square mandala. So how it is transformed, and the surrounding this part is 16 bodhisattva circle, and all the corners are with puja devata, so devis. So this way, it is interesting that this kind of mandala is transformed to the square form, and this square form is necessary because we are not making the circular plan of the Vihara. There are in other region of the world, there might be circular building, but we are building square structure. So for that purpose, they transform it into square format, and this is the basic grid. Within that, they start to work out with this building forms. And I just want to show you one thing is, in all the viharas, bahals, we have this vertical line, and I was curious about why this. It is just a offset of 3 to 5 inches, and why it and by from point of view of construction, it's like not so easy, and but traditionally it has been like built, and what we found is it's this red line. This 81 square mandala is summarized into 9 square mandala, and 9 square mandalas, this red line is marked with that vertical line. So, and not knowing this, many of the biharas, when we go, they don't know this and went for easy one, and they have now started, just with plain walls. Many bihar have this, it has lost this feature, and actually that line is just 3-inch offset. It gives a like mandala, it indicates the mandala lines. Next chapter is about istical lakshana, about bricks, and it gives a the proportion, length breadth proportion, and thickness and breadth proportion. And it was interesting, like we have several data from like Kasta Mandap, Jayabagshir temple, Angshu Burma brick, Charumati Stupa, Brahma temple, and we have this Maapa. Maapa is we are using currently for the construction of Bihar. And interesting thing is when we check with this proportion, local Maapa came very near. Like it's very near, and also Charumati Stupa is also near, but local Maapa is very near. The next section is about Digrahana. Digrahana is how to precisely define the direction. How we say east, north, west, south. So it gives a detailed instruction about that. And then this is Prasada Lakshana. Prasada Lakshana is about, in this slide, it is general type of definition. But in the next, why I did this question mark is some of the, it is too general that we couldn't relate it in our context. That's why we just left it for future. And then there is another heading to lay out drain. Now we have this grid, and we have assigned deities for the grid. Now when it says to that location, it just says Mahakala. Mahakala square means that location. Mahadeepa. So Mahadeepa means that location. So it suggests Mahakala, Mahadeepa square, and it should go towards north. And another option could be, and it gives two options, only two options, not third. Vajra Gandha and Usnisa Chakra, and drain should go towards east. So this is very interesting, and we checked with our existing Bahāḥs. This is from Guita, where I myself belong, and there is 3 Bihara adjoining at same place, and they have put the drain at the same place what Kriyāsaṃgraha have recommended or prescribed. So the next section is Prasada Lakshana, and it gives a different typologies. It says Ekasala, Dvisala, Trisala, and Chatusala. So Vihara could be single building, 2 building, 3 building, and 4 building. And Eksala, it prescribed that, if it is in the west, not good. If it is in the, Uttara, not good. And if it is Purva, not good. If it is in the Dakshina, south, and facing north, this is the auspicious one. So we checked in our context. We have several examples that this is they are built in Xala format, and all of them were built at the south side and facing north. Right? So one of the example is Bahāḥ. Bahāḥ. Now, if you go to Bahāḥ, you will see almost filled. But this, why I'm putting this picture is there is no other structures, only the Bihar structure, and that is in south and facing north. So there are several other such vihara. Yasodhara Mahabihar Bhuvai could be, because it has structure in south and facing north, and other buildings, there are other buildings, but it is not in the format of like other type. We will talk about Ruchak style next. And there are Vajrakirti Mahabihar, Jyoti Varna Mahabihar, Chakra Varna Mahabihar, Jyotipal Mahabihar, and Gunalakshmi Mahabihar. These are some of the Bihar which we found is constructed in Eksala format. And Dvisala format, it also gives different names, and Phala means good or bad. And we couldn't really find this kind of format in our context. So, and another is Trisala. And this is from the handbook manuscript. So we are studying Kriyāsaṃgraha and handbook manuscript parallelly. These texts are from Kriyāsaṃgraha, and these pictures are from those handbooks. And Kriyāsaṃgraha does not have even single picture. So how it is localized, how the local people have adopted this Kriyāsaṃgraha, this is a very interesting one. And Trisala is also of 4 type: Chulli, Pachagna, Sarvartha, Hiranyanav, and Suchetro. So these texts have given the name Pachagna. So this is north. So if north is empty, if west is empty, then these two forms are not good. And if north is empty, north is empty. North is empty and east is empty. This is good one. So I think this one is, this should be another side. Yeah. So we have the Sarva, Hiranyava and Suchetro is a good one. And we checked this like with we have some bahis which are multiple bahis constructed at same site. And this is again from my Bihara Guita. 3 bahis are sitting at same place, and we were wondering, this bahi is enclosed from 4 side and all facing towards courtyard. This bahi have only 3 side facing courtyard, and this bahi also have only 3 side. There is no 4th side. And interestingly is it was deliberately done to make north side empty and east side empty, because only these 2 options are allowed to construct as per Kriyāsaṃgraha. So now it is clear. Before that I was interpreting it, this Bihara Sangha must be a bit powerful at that time, so they made it like 4 sided, and they were less powerful, so they just left it in its way. But now it's a discovery that they were following Kriyāsaṃgraha. We checked with other such cases. This is Yampi Bihara. It also have series of Biharas. Existing is only 2, Karunataka and Yampi Bihara. It also have conform this norm. And another Ikache Bahi also adjoining. It also have adjoining structure, and it also conform the format. So with these cases, we can say that they have followed these norms. The next is Chatusala. This is the most popular writing. And in the first section, it says putting the main door at the south is not good. You can put door in other 3 sides, but south is not good. So we check this, so this has been maintained. And then it lists down 5 kind of Chatusala. One is Ruchaka, another is Swastika, another is Vardhamana, Nandyavarta, and last one is Sarvarta Siddha. And with this 5 Bihara form, we find the two form is much used. So Ruchaka is very much conforming, very much aligned with Bahāḥ architecture. It talks about rows of column. It talks about like it should be 3 bay, and the wall on, if you wall have to be removed, you need to put rows of series of columns. So it is well instructed here, and it gives the dimension proportion like length breadth proportion and the position of the middle row. And I thought many of the Bahāḥ now reconstruct, they tried to put the column at the center, but actually Kriyāsaṃgraha does not recommend that, and it has a reason. If you put it at the center, there is some kind of inconveniences. So I won't go to that detail, but if you see that, you can understand that. So it has clearly said the middle ones should be it gives the ratio. Like first one is L by B, length and breadth. So it should be 5. And we check with several cases. Actually, we didn't measure that. Mohan Murthy Panta, Dr. Panta have done in his book. So we just have those data and which compared it. Those are, almost like this is, you can say exactly. So 5.2, it should be 5 actually, but 5.2, 5.5, only very few small deviation. And the next criteria is the middle wall. Middle wall should be 3 by 5 of the total width. So this is the criteria given in Kriyāsaṃgraha, and we checked with several Bahāḥ. This is Cha Bahil. So if you see this dimension, it should be actually this is width 3.8, 3.83. So 2.3. It should be 2.38 actually, as per site measurement, but by calculation it came 2.29. So it is very near. So, and interesting is the middle wall is not at the center. This is Java Bahāḥ. This was recently reconstructed, but this picture is before reconstruction, and during previous reconstruction they have modified a lot, but still there are some remnants of this row of column is still remaining from the past, and this is also positioned at the like it should be it is 2.6. Here it is 3.9. So it has some deviation. So this is Ruchaka. The next is Swastika. Most of the Bahāḥ are constructed in Swastika format. It recommends single bay and with rooms, and it also recommends the length breadth proportion, that is 1:6. And we checked with Susha Bahāḥ and many Bahāḥs, and they are in 1:6. So this is from Tsushaba 5.996 is almost close. And it talks about like so this type of swastika form is very auspicious. It recommends. And then Vardhaman is next, which we didn't find this kind of case. It does not explain much about this proportion. We can assume that proportion could be of swastika or ruchaka, but it only mentioned about two water source or water element, water spout and the south wall. I think we don't have this kind of vihara with water spout in the vihara. And there is another Nandika Varta and Nanda Varta, and it says Chanayutasa. Chanayuta, this word is a bit tricky. Still, we are, trying to, interpret it. And we have manuscripts with these pictures. One picture is with like some projection towards corners, and another picture is with this long is this room is extended beyond this no to the edge of the building, and the format is like Nandavarta. The Nandavarta also implies with this kind of format. So this format we can see in Sushabaha, but interesting is that Pinchebaha, which I showed the inscription, it does not have this format. All the other features are complying, but this Nandika Avarta is not, we can't find in that particular vihara. So we can figure out that Nanda Avarta is one of the feature in the swastika form. And there is Sarvartha Siddhi, it's an octagonal vihara, which we don't find in Kathmandu, but in text it is recommended. And there is another section called Devalaya Lakshana. And Devalaya Lakshana, at first, we couldn't relate it actually. But we have one case, Mayurvarna Mahavihara, is with this temple structure, not with that. It also have courtyard, but courtyard does not have the same format of swastika and other. So we are in preliminary stage. Devalaya, this criteria must be corresponding with this vihara, but this has to be checked. We have not yet checked with the this case. And it gives measurement system, unit system, what we call anguli, pach. We use this hasta. So it gives the denominations of those unit system, and it gives dwara lakshana. It gives all the proportioning, and it says matra, and this was drawn as per it prescribed, and it resembles a lot similar to what we have doors in our vihara. We haven't checked really with the doors, but it resembles. Some of the features are really conforming, but all the features are not much coinciding. And it says about Torana. Torana should be with Vajra, Ratna, Padma, Chakra, Deva, Naga, Yaksha, Vidyadharadi, Nana, Lankara, Torana, Dikam, Yatha, Sobhanam. So it says different many things, but in our Torana we can see lots of Nagas. This is from Sushabaha. You can see all these Nagas. So this feature, we can relate that this is come from Kriyāsaṃgraha prescription. And Vajraratna Padma Chakra actually is a symbol of Panchabuddha. And we see in some miniature Torana is in a temple. They have miniature Torana. They have used this. It is in also Sushabaha and also in Bhubaha. They have only the symbol of Panchabuddha without other features. So maybe all those type of torna are come from this prescription. And then stamba lachana. Stamba lachana, it gives different parts of stamba and its measurement in proportion. It's a matra. Matra could be, it's a unit. And we compared it with this is also drawing from Professor Murthy. So, and coincidentally, this was drawn from Gita Bahi again. And it says Chandra Rekha at the middle of the Bahi. So this is Chandra Rekha, Astamsa means octagonal portion, and then Shodasamsa means 16 division of the circle, and then again Astamsa, Padma Dvaya means pair of lotus, Chaturasra is square portion, and Astamsa Bartulakar is circular. So it gives all the parts and matra. And it gives above column what it should be. So this is the picture. This is not the real one. This is what it is written in the Kriyāsaṃgraha, and this is the real at the site. So we can compare. It resembles very much, but not exactly. And this is from Ibabahi. We can see this Chandra Rekha, this octagonal portion. Matra is different, but still features are same. This is from Gita, recently constructed, recently installed. We don't see these features. So it shows that the current reconstruction, they are, forgetting these norms, which have been still on use. And then another section is a very short section. It just have a single line. It says Stamba Ratna Silo Paristapya. Column should be installed over the base stone. We call it Iloh. And we can find in all the bihars, the columns are installed over the base stone. So this is the schematic drawing. And in current reconstruction, this has been discontinued, as Lata already mentioned. When this was being implemented, we complained, we had lots of debate, but it was not heard, and it was implemented. And the sad part is, this thing is included in building code. That means like a legal norms. And we have been talking with the DUDBC and government officials about this, but it is not heard, right? And it has big problem. The issue is with like this Kasta Mandapa. When Kasta Mandapa in renovation, they raise the floor covering the Iloh, and that made the wood timber get rotten because of this moisture. And when this was fell down, it was found that it had a void, because of rotten wood. So one of the reason that Kasta Mandap fell is because of ignoring this Ratna Silopari. So it is actually well written in the Kriyāsaṃgraha. This is wrong practice we are saying, and DUDBC, the government building code is, like they have been implementing it. So, and there is symbolism with all these dharma words. I'm not going to, and actually it is 37 Bodhipatchika Dharma, and it talks about this cornice. It has many features. I am over the time, that's why I'm just skipping the explanation. In my paper is in detail, so you can see. The interesting one here is, it says in such detail, Tadupari Sya Mukhan Gatitang Agatitang. Agatitang Gatitang. It means over this layer it should be Sihamukha, right? And Ghatitang means it could be carved like a carved or plain, but the symbol is for Sihamukha. And there is another section, Gavaksha Lakshana, it's a window, about window, and it also gives the proportion. And we tried, this is the drawing made according to Kriyāsaṃgraha. It also resembles lot what we have Gavaksha, and it gives the parts, name of the parts like Bahu, Upabahu, Bahali, Nirivyuha, Dehali. So these all are words from Kriyāsaṃgraha. Currently, we don't much use these words. I remember only one, Bahāḥ. We call Dutu Bahāḥ. We call the member, the vertical member, we call Bahāḥ. Only that word is still in use. Other words are we don't use. And then it says it should be decorated with different alankars. So I'm not going to in detail. And it recommends Gavaksha could be 3, Pancha and Saptanksha. Aksha means Iksha. Iksha means like eye, right? So it could be 3 opening, it could be 5 opening, and it could be 7 opening. And we see lots of cases with 3 opening and 5 opening. And in next section, it gives, if that is 3 opening, it is symbol of sunyata, animitta, and apranita. If it is 5 opening, it is a 5 kind of jnana. And if it is 7 opening, it's a 7 bodhyanga. And we don't have cases of 7 opening. Still, I haven't noticed that. If there is, please inform us. And then after that, we have this laying of the roof with joists. And Shirodaru is we call Thaima. Thaima is the ridge beam. And Istuna are those ridge pillars. Griyachhadana Daru is rafters. So it gives the different measurements, but still we couldn't relate it with our cases. Sikha Daru, still we can't relate it. And another this is the last section. It talks about Chitra Karma. Painting should be done. And it says Netra Yugala Kalasa Yugana. So we don't have actually in Bihara, but we in private houses, when we do Zanku, we write Netra Yugala Kalasa. So this came from Kriyāsaṃgraha, and it says Gavaksha Shiro Pari Panchataragatan. This is Gavaksha window, and above the Gavaksha window, 5 Buddhas. So this is in practice. In many Biharas, we see the 5 Buddhas. This is in private houses. We don't see this much in Vihara. Yes. So this is Gujibaha. It is after reconstruction, they replaced with the sculpture. The paintings were replaced with sculpture. And this is from Daubahal. This is also painting with 5 Buddha, but it was replaced with canvas. It is replaceable, it is removable canvas, not in the fixed one. And it recommends about Mahakala, also recommends other thing, but it is not implemented. Harati, we find only in very few places. This is from Ubabahi. Otherwise, we don't see much Harati. So, in conclusion, I won't go much in length that this is like architecture and text, it's in correspondence. So, my final line is we should be studying these texts, and we should be rethink about our reconstruction work. Yeah, thank you for taking patience. And sorry, I took a bit more time. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sure.
Hello. Thank you so much, Gyanendra Sakya, for your interesting presentation, but it has been technical and analytical too. And actually, Ganindra Sake is representing Kriyāsaṃgraha research group consisting of members, Professor Tanimura, Professor Taiken Kumar, Ganindra himself, Manindra Sestra, and Dr. Lata Sake. And he's our member also, member of Lotus Research Center, and he's a learner, practitioner, and technical person himself. He is an architect engineer. Okay. With this, we move on to another part. The paper will be commented by Dr. Sudarshan Raj Tiwari online. And to give a short introduction of Dr. Sudarshan Raj Tiwari. Sudarshan Raj Tiwari is a distinguished Nepali professor emeritus of architecture at Tribhuvan University, former dean of Institute of Engineering, and renowned conversationalist known for his deep expertise in Nepali history, culture, urbanism, and traditional architecture, with influential books like The Temple of Nepal Valley and work on heritage sites, and significantly shaping architectural education and heritage conservation in Nepal. Dr. Tiwari, now is your turn to comment on the paper.
Thank you, Surendraji, for that very good introduction. In the first place, I'm very thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to speak on this very important research paper. As I heard through all these three presentations, including yourself, I think it's one of the rarer things. The architecture of Bahāḥ and Bahāḥ has not been studied from textual perspective. This is the first time I'm hearing any study of it. Generally, they have been studied as building form and construction artifact kind of issue, and the studies have been mostly from the perspective of forms. And it is the first time I think we are doing a study from the methodological aspect of it itself is, I think, appreciable, because we're using the researchers have used the texts and then using an on-field comparison, a comparative study with actually existing elements in the Kathmandu and Patan in Kathmandu Valley to substantiate or to corroborate those instructions. So it is a very novel method, and I think all the five researchers, including Professor Tanamura, and Professor Kyoma, and Dr. Lata Sakya, Manindra Shrestha, and Gyanendra Sakya, of course, deserve all the congratulations. I'm myself very interested in these aspects, and I was quite surprised that the Kriyāsaṃgraha Panjika it sounds so similar to many of the architectural documents we have read about from the let's say the other traditions in the valley, like Hindu temples and like that. And as was mentioned by Professor Takamura, that the Saiva Tantra document, Pratishtha Tantra, and that itself was based on another Saiva Tantra document. These are all 11th century, 10th, 11th century documents. So similarity is kind of understood. We can see a great amount of similarities between the Kriyāsaṃgraha statements and the Brihad Samhita, and also some of the Manasara, the Vastu Shastra according to Manasara. So these similarities are there, but what is surprising is that a document that was written in the 11th century was so kind of sincerely followed in so many aspects. And as the researchers have pointed out, the various aspects of building, but starting with the conceptualization, the selection of sites, and then kind of laying it out and putting a ritual consecrations, and the actual construction itself, and how the gods and goddesses of our faith are accommodated within the architectural system, making it a kind of a live live faith experience. So it's a building as well as how the process of building itself brought in the ritualization and brought the society into the picture. So it becomes a kind of a socio-cultural space, and as it was earlier pointed out in the first presentation, I think that Nepalese newer Buddhism, for example, has this great syncretism between Sravakayan, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. And although the document that we are looking at is a Vajrayana document, because we know it was written about 11th century, it has to have learned a lot from the Lisavi times. So I think it's a document, study of that document also enables us to understand what might have been happening in the period before the 11th century, and what are some of the elements that led to its crystallization. And so in terms of the details of presentation, before going into that, I thought I'd like all of us to kind of think a little bit about the development of, often we think that the Vajrayana development in Kathmandu Valley as being informed by both Tibetan and Indian traditions, but my studies kind of tell me that maybe Vajrayana has a much earlier origin. Maybe it has a 4th, 5th century origin in Kathmandu Valley, and then there was a lot of learning the Tibetans did from it, and we had the kind of counter learning later on from them. So it's kind of a cyclical order of feeding each other and causing the kind of development that we see in Kathmandu. Now, having said that, of course, Kriyāsaṃgraha document as such does not distinguish between Bahāḥ and Bahāḥ as such, and it seemed like that, at least in the presentation. Although when we come to the construction stage, when we look at the the Vajra Dhatu Mandala, and which is almost similar to this 81 square architectural Vastu Mandala according to Manasara, but of course with the deities of a reference coming from Vajrayana, given their places in the universe, in the system of the universe itself. So it's a Vajra Dhatu Mandala as a whole cosmic kind of representation. Whatever understanding of the cosmology was at that time from the Vajrayana faith of thinking, that has been shown in the Vajra Dhatu Mandala, and that was used. So that 9 square mandala, I think it's a I also, as Gyanandaji himself was pointing out, so when you look at our Bahāḥ structure, particularly from outside. You see these brick walls are recessed a little bit in different places. Somewhere it's coming out, and now he was pointing out to us how the the proportioning system of the 9 square system, the 81 square system, the 9 square system, and the 25 square system. All these three kinds of Vastu division being reflected in very minute detail in the elevation as well as in the plan forms. I think I was quite impressed by the way the field verification of some of the possible conclusions that we could draw from the Kriyāsaṃgraha Panjita was done. That was very amazing. I think comparison about the dimensions of Chabahi, which I myself studying, and I'm finding it probably one of the Bahāls in Kathmandu which uses the most ancient proportions and might be one of the oldest we have still existing there. And these the dimensions of somewhere around 22 meters, and how the Nag pattern, the study of the Nag pattern and its movement, how that also can lead to the 22 meters sizing, and that's a very interesting kind of conclusion, because when I was looking at it, the measurement scale itself is interesting, I think, which is there in detail in the paper itself, but it was probably not presented because it became very technical. But I thought that was a very important part to give a little thought, because in Bahāḥ measurements, we're using the system of 7 multiples of 7. So that is in the traditional, let's say in the larger Indian system, it is multiple of 8. For example, it's 8 yukas that make 1 yava. Here we have 7 yukas that make 1 yava. So that changes the dimension a lot. And so our hasta, for example, hasta is normally 2 bittas, 2 basistas, and that will be about 24 anguls. But but you will see that it was not actually 24 anguls, because in the Naga pattern you could see that dimension given is 12.75, so which translate as 25 and a half as a hasta, equivalent to hasta. So that is, I think, one area where we have to investigate, because that is giving us a very special dimension to architectural elements in Nepal. And I think that's very particular for Nepal to use that multiple of 7 as the dimension. So that part, I think, deserves to be noticed, deserves to be discussed more. And the actual measurement of hasta has to be clarified. And I would even think that instead of 12.75, 12.25 is probably a more accurate kind of a measure for half a hasta. So that's that kind of analysis I think could be we need to do in a supplementary measure. I think in terms of presentation, I was looking at the drainage part, for example. It's always interesting to read the documents why they are only talking about drainage and they are not talking about the supply of water itself to the unit. This is the disposal of ritual waters. That's called the drainage. So it was quite interesting that it's the drainage points given are actually very similar to entry and exit points given in in the system for water supply to cities. So somehow relating the city system to the Bahāḥ system there. And about this, although again in the paper you discussed about this, the one wing system, Eksala, Dvisala, Trisala, and Chatusala systems. I think most of our balls were on the Chatusala system, and we might actually like to check further whether the Trisala systems that we have identified, where the courtyards are combined together, whether that actually is a Trisala or not. That's, I think, a discussion that we could go in. But I would agree that swastika pattern is the most common pattern that has been used. It's a four-way pattern, and it also explains why there are four staircases and the dalan system we did not discuss so long, but I think that also explains. So it is particularly the swastika pattern. I think we should try to relate to our grasp system of Buddhism, which Badrayana is applicable, the most applicable to. So so how the monks or the domesticated monks were living in the Bahāḥ premises, that could be understood with the four staircases and the dalan systems like that. So there is a lot of further research material that continuity that we can do with both the swastika and ruchaka pattern of buildings. And I already this this idea of this four apartment system, the swastika pattern, this was also studied in detail by the Japanese architects when they did the Bahāḥ, and when they were studying the Sundari Chowk architecture also. I already mentioned my comment on the measurement system, the multiple of 7 system, I think, and the idea of 3 kinds of angles that has been mentioned: the small angle, the middle angle, and the large angle. And it is the middle dimension that is used by Nepalese architects, whether it is in Buddhism or in Hinduism, it doesn't matter. Both the groups were using the middle dimension, so that when you work out your how much is one hasta equal to how many centimeters, it works about 41 centimeters something. So which I worked out in my earlier book. I think I talked a lot about this in my temples book also. So if someone is interested, they can read that. I think in terms of the research, I was very impressed about the details that were studied about the doorways, and it's very interesting that this has been a very important part of architecture of religious buildings, to talk about doorways and also the window on the top, the Gavaksha window, or what we call our those Pasuka windows. So there I think the measurements and proportioning and what is the ritual significance of that, we can understand that there's such a very fine proportioning system being used. It must have had a very important reason for going to such minute detail. My thinking is that both for the doorways, for the columns, for the posts, and also for the cornice design of cornices, this could be looked at in more detail, and the ritual significance of the various symbolic elements that have been used should be studied. I mean, the major things that you have talked about is the square section, how it's converted into octagonal or 16-sided figure, and then again becomes circle, and then comes back to the square form. Ultimately, the timber element being kind of cut out of a square section. So that, how all these different shapes are created, because from structural point of view, we know it cuts out the capacity of the post itself, but because we're doing it, there must be some reason. There is a lot of gain, kind of ritual and other faith aspect to be gained by doing those kind of cuts. So that analysis, I think, we could do further. And I'm quite impressed that the document is already talking about the Ratna Sila right from the beginning. So I was always thinking that the stone base must have come a little later, because the use of wood must have kind of led us to that experience of that its base will require a kind of a waterproof piece at the bottom. So this might be some things that they learned in the Lichavi times. And in the overall, I think we still got to look at the
Professor Tiwari,
the
you
81 square
got-
systems. And
hello,
yes,
keep your a little shorter.
okay, I'll finish it. I just wanted to suggest that we can do a further investigation of this the Vajradhatu mandala itself, to try to figure out how the Kwapadeva position is located, or what are its sizes, and how the circumambulatory around the Kwapadeva, particularly in the Bahi system, that's worked out. If we could do further research in that area, it will help a lot. And of course, in the end, I think the presentation will make us very if it will help us in the conservation, in the sense that many of the ideas or requirements of a properly constructed, properly designed Bahāḥ we are losing, because we have lost the knowledge system itself. Once the knowledge system is brought back, I think there is a possibility for the things to be conserved or reconstructed in a better way. And I think we can hope for a better future with these kind of publications. Okay, thank you very much.